everybody out there, this is Seto, and today guys we're going to do my Q&A video. Now this was a video I was planning to do last month actually, but the day that I said to you guys I was going to be working on it and I had everything organized and I posted up on Facebook saying, oh, I'm going to go work on it this weekend, is the same day that my dad passed away. So it pretty much got put on the back burner like everything else, and now I'm getting around to doing it now. Also, I should let you guys know I've had a very bad day today. One of my family members actually broke into my house claiming that they were looking for things that belong to them, even though nothing in that house actually belongs to them, and they took a lot of my stuff. So I've been dealing with that all day, but I still wanted to do this video because as of right now I'm actually in an upbeat mood. So without further ado, let us get started on the first question for the Q&A video. So I got the computer set up, so I'm looking over here at the questions. So the first question is, what would you tell someone if they just started playing the game and they never had played the game before until now? I would say pretty much don't feel like you have to play the most competitive deck out there at the time. If you want to learn to economize your resources, learn to use your resources more wisely, and be a more, I have to say personally, be somewhat more of a skilled player to some aspect, playing with a lower tier deck will teach you how to use your resources better and overall become a better player, I have found from personal experience, and as well as watching other players develop in their quest for that. Also, don't feel the need that you always have to buy packs. If you're just looking to build a certain deck, just buy singles. For the most part, that's the cheapest way, I have personally found. Our next question is, what state do you live in, and how long have you lived there, and were you born there? Yes, I am actually from Virginia. Virginia is actually located we're north of North Carolina, we're east of Tennessee, we're south of Maryland, and I actually live in the northern part of Virginia, and I'm about an hour drive away from the nation's capital, which is Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States. And I've lived here pretty much my entire life in Virginia. I actually migrate between Stafford, Virginia, and Prince William County, Virginia. So anybody in the area of Northern Virginia, shout out to you guys. There's actually a lot of players I know that know me, that probably have seen me over the years. How far would you say an Ojama deck would go in a tournament, and what are your reasons behind your answers? How far would an Ojama deck go in a tournament? I've only seen a few Ojama decks throughout my years. I guess you could say I've actually seen three Ojama decks from three different players. My friend Alex, who you actually saw earlier this year, his Ojama deck. One of my friends back in the day, back when GX was out, and one about 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know how far an Ojama deck would go in today's tournament. I mean, are you talking a local tournament, a regional tournament, a YCS? I don't think a YCS or regionals that's going to go super far, but maybe at a local tournament, if you put in a lot of tech cards and you know the type of decks you'll be facing, it probably could do very well. It just depends upon the setting. Did you watch the anime before you started playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Or did you not even know about the anime Yu-Gi-Oh and just decided to play the game itself? I've actually told this story before. I will probably actually do a video on this later, more in depth of how I got into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, because a lot of you guys have actually asked me about that. Pretty much, I watched the anime the first time it actually ever came out, the first episode ever, so that was Kaiba versus Yugi, Exodia, Obliterate! I said just to say Obliterate, I mean Obliterate. Blech. Oh no, Exodia! So I actually watched that, and about a week later I saw my friends playing the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's how I got into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. So I saw the anime first, saw my friends playing it, picked it up, and pretty much never put it down. So I've been playing since 2002, I think it is. It's since the beginning, pretty much. Do you watch the anime, or did you watch the anime, and have you watched the anime, and who is your favorite character or characters from each of the Yu-Gi-Oh animes? Okay. Seto Kaiba, first Yu-Gi-Oh series. Pretty much I've watched the entire Yu-Gi-Oh series. If you're asking what is my favorite arc out of all the Yu-Gi-Oh series, hands down it's the ancient Egyptian arc. So when the pharaoh regains his memories and he's actually going back in time, through his Millennium Puzzle, and he's back in ancient Egypt, and he's got his, he doesn't know what's going on, but that arc is my favorite arc, along with the final arc where they have Yugi versus Yami, or a Tim, I guess you could say. So Seto Kaiba in that arc, also the Pharaoh, he was just awesome. GX, that's kind of hard to say. Alexis Rhodes was kind of a woohoo, you know what I mean. I did like her, but Jaden was okay. I prefer the heroes. Jaden was a little bit too much for me. 5Ds was really, really awesome. Yusei was my boy. I loved watching Yusei. He really reminded me of what I have gone through in my life. Kind of reminded me of kind of a Seto Kaiba like upbringing, like how to go through a hard life to get where he's at. Kind of like, that's why I always thought of Yusei. Crow was cool too. Black Wings were one of my favorite decks back in 5D, so I like that for that reason. For Zexal, Kite. Kite's probably much my favorite player in Zexal, along with I think it's Astral, which actually, if you didn't know, was actually supposed to be the original form they were going to use for Tim back in the original Yu-Gi-Oh series. They actually said, but they're pretty cool. They're serious, but they're very smart and intelligent duelist. And as for Arc 5, really I haven't developed a favorite character yet, because it's still ongoing, but I have to say the main protagonist in that series, I really like him. He's turning out to be a cool guy. Next up, we have, how many different decks do you have? I have a lot of different decks. And what are your top 3 decks that you play with all the time? Gravekeepers, Six Samurai, Blue Eyes White Dragon. I have more decks than I can count. I have more decks than I have fingers and toes and probably teeth. A lot of cards I keep in my binder so I can just easily build a deck. But if you're asking decks that I could put together in like 5-10 minutes, including side deck and main deck, I'm talking probably over 30 to 40 decks I could easily put together like in 10-15 minutes. I'm a new subscriber to your channel, and I am enjoying the outdoor videos. I'm sorry I haven't been able to do the outdoor videos, guys. I've just been really, really constrained on that, so I apologize. I think you should do a mail call video outside. Also, can you do a Yu-Gi-Oh collection video? Once I get my Yu-Gi-Oh collection together, hopefully, because my like I said earlier, if I didn't say earlier in the video, one of my family members broke into my house and took a lot of stuff, so I don't know if they took my Yu-Gi-Oh collection, but I have most of it on hand, so yes, I can do a collection video of the important cards. I have a lot of common cards, but I don't think you guys want to see all that, but yes, I'll be more than willing to do that, and I may do some more outdoor videos once the weather gets more warm. It's getting pretty cold and windy, and it's getting kind of like winter around here. Have you ever gotten a top 4 or higher at local tournaments before, and what did it feel like when you got so far in the tournament, and how did you feel? Yes, I have. I haven't been able to play at my locals for tournaments quite some time, actually. I've been kind of busy over the last 6-7 months, even before my father passed away. But yes, I have. I've actually topped at regionals before, back with Six Samurai, Gravekeepers. The last time I topped at a regionals was with Dino Rabbit. It's been a long time because I've had other priorities and I just haven't been playing super competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! I've played in YCSs before, almost got top 32 back when Six Samurais were in their prime. I was that close. I mean, he top decked Dark Hole and I cried. So yeah, that was a long time ago in a galaxy far away. But yes, it's an awesome feeling when you do so good in a tournament. It's an amazing feeling, especially when people congratulate you and you feel like after I pretty much topped at a regionals, it felt like my Yu-Gi-Oh career had been kind of complete, because you get that satisfaction that you're a good duelist, you feel like you've made skillful moves and plays to get to where you're at. It's taken time. I mean, I used to play before we had YCSs, back when we had, with my younger brother at the time, and with friends, we would build decks together and actually take them to these major tournaments. So like the Show and Jump tournaments back before there were YCSs, back when Upper Deck used to run Yu-Gi-Oh, things like that. Back when Toys R Us used to host tournaments too. I mean, played in a whole bunch of different tournaments from a whole bunch of different settings, and I've topped. But it's really fun. to get the satisfaction that people say, you know, you took a Gravekeeper deck in a format when Dragon Rulers are prevalent and you topped with it at your locals when everybody else is running Dragon Rulers. It's a very, very satisfying thing. Especially if you're running because you get called that, hey, you're that Gravekeeper guy that topped, you know, in a format where Gravekeepers were not supposed to do anything, or hey, you're that Six Samurai guy that did so good with Six Samurais. It's really a good feeling. You get to be remembered because nobody remembers the Dragon Ruler player or the Burning Abyss player, besides maybe Billy Brake, that topped at a regionals. But they're going to remember that X-Saber guy that topped at an event. Let me see here. Next we have a question that says, what do you think of Jack in the Box? I have never heard of this card coming out in the next challengers. It doesn't target in the graveyard. I've never even heard of this card, Jack in the Box. I apologize, but it sounds like an interesting card. Next up we have from GFX, I cannot put your name. What is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card? Besides Blue Eyes White Dragon, you mean? Besides Blue Eyes White Dragon, Dark Magician Girl. I grew up in the era when Dark Magician Girl was a hot, sexy card, believe me. Dark Magician Girl and Magician's Valkyria and Injection Fair Lily. Those are some of my favorite cards. Just the artwork, yeah. I'm a guy. What can I say? What do you think of the Bujin archetype? Is it a deck? Is it your type of deck? Do you think it could compete into the meta today? This is actually a question from not too long ago. I mean, Bujins are kind of like Black Wings when I think of them to some extent, but the fact is, I mean, as of right now, you don't see them topping. I still believe they're a good deck. They're a good deck. They're a good, well-rounded archetype that has very good plays. It's just they've been power creeped, just like a half a dozen decks before them, and you know, Burning Abyss and Stella Knights and Shadows. Eventually, they'll be power creeped, and people will forget about them and say, oh, you know, they're awful. They're tier 2. They're tier 3. Happens to every single deck out there in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! It gets power creeped. Bujins, I think, got power creeped. Is it my type of deck? I mean, I do like, you know, Black Wings, which I kind of associate, you know, with Bujins, and I do like the fact that Bujins kind of sit behind Yamato, Kaiser Coliseum control, kind of. But in that respect, I do like Noble Knights because of that reason. So I kind of like it, but the archetype itself, even though it's based off the GX characters, I'm just, it's kind of a one-trick pony, sit behind Yamato, kind of make your exceeds. It's cool, but there's other archetypes I like. I usually play archetypes that I like really a lot, and Bujin just didn't make that cut. They're a fun deck though, and no good deck, and I'll admit that. Let's see here, Ojamas. I've already talked about Ojamas. If you could get one archetype more support, which archetype it would be and why? Level monsters. I want to play Horus the Black Flame Dragon competitively. It's a freaking good card that says no to all spell cards. Can you imagine when pendulums become really good and your opponent tries to set up the pendulum zone and activate them as magic cards? You can say no, from what I understand, because it's considered a magic card when it's activated. So you can say no with Horus the Black Flame Dragon, and you just can watch them cry when you bring Horus level 8 out. It'd be such a good feeling. So level monsters, more support, because they're such a fun, underrated archetype. There's a whole bunch I would like to see support for, but level monsters is really up there. Me and my friends are playing for fun for a long time, and now we are allowed to use banned cards and stuff like that. I have Spellcaster deck, which is a pretty good deck, but I want to ask you, in your opinion, what is the best deck for me, including banned cards and whatever you like? Just asking. Exodia. Using an Exodia deck with banned cards like Pot of Greed, Regeki, Harpy's Feather Duster, just a lot of good draw engine cards is really, really, really good. So Exodia, I have to say, if you're using a traditional format, Exodia. Which of the 6 samurais do you think has the best artwork, and which is your favorite archetype of the ones currently have? Name 5. Favorite 6 samurai, Kizan. Kizan, he's my boy. Special summon, protect Shien. That's probably my favorite. And I think Shien and Ulti is really, really beautiful. Favorite type archetypes, like I said, Gravekeepers. I mean, competitive archetypes, I actually like Burning Abyss. People are going to probably unsubscribe for me saying that, but let me finish that sentence there. I like Burning Abyss because it's based off of Dante's Seven Circles of Hell. History, I love history. That's why I would like it. Shadows, Selenites, other competitive decks, Madolches, because I love cooking and I play that deck too, by the way. What is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh set of all time? Extreme Victory. Extreme Victory, or what's that set called? Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. The set that Chaos Emperor Dragon, BLS, DMOC, and a half a dozen old good school cards came out of it. I forget off the top of my head, I apologize, but that set. Not Dark Crisis. Oh my gosh, how can I not remember that set? I know it so well. I'm having a brain fart and I apologize. What is your view on the Herald deck, the Heraldic Beast deck with its new support? It'll be very good, and I hope that they actually get the new Heraldic Beast support. Comes to the TCG eventually. It's a very good rank 4 deck. I think it's maybe on par with Stella Knights in the rank 4 engine pool, because that's a freaking good deck. You know, the cards hit the graveyard, you get their effects off. It has Miracle Fusion, it has its own Monster Reborn. It has very easy ways of dumping cards to grave to bring them back, and it has a good Searcher and Leo. It's a well-rounded deck. I don't know if it could compete with the meta, but I think it would be a very solid tier 2 deck and a very good solid rank 4 deck. And what's the last question is how old are you and how long have you been playing the game? I am actually currently 24 years old, and I've been playing this game for as long as I can remember, since 2002 pretty much. I did take a break in the late 2000s, but only for like a year or two. And then I came back into the game and played competitively with Gravekeepers and Six Samurais and Dino Rabbit, and then I pretty much became a casual player because I just don't have the time to be a competitive player and invest in it. But I do like playing competitively to some extent sometimes. But nowadays it just feels like every set has a competitive deck, and it's just kind of like, yeah. And where's that not Dark Crisis? That's going to be eaten away with me. What set? That Chaos Emperor Dragon, BLS, that's my favorite set of all time, probably next to Storm of Ragnarok and Extreme Victory. But till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling. I apologize this video was so long, I'm very tired. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any more questions you'd like to ask me that I did not answer, feel free to ask me down below in the comments section. Until next time, guys, I hope you have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. Seto Kaiba, I'm out of here, guys. Take care, everybody.